All right, so we're going to carry on here, and we're going to add the ambient correction factor. So when we look at these tables, whether we're in tables 1, table 2, or here, table 2, and applying the derating factor of tables 5C, if we go look, all the tables in the Canadian Electrical Code are based on an ambient temperature rating of 30 degrees. So here, if I install these conductors in free air in an ambient temperature of 30 degrees, without the correction factors of 4-006, I can get the 90 degree ampacity to 165 amps. But the moment we attach equipment with the termination temperature rating, we are limited to the termination temperature rating of the equipment if it is marked. In this case, 75 degrees. That brought us down to the 75 degree ampacity in tables 1. As well, in this scenario with a 3-conductor cable with a 75 degree equipment temperature, we were stuck to the table 2 limitation at the 75 degree rating of 100 amps. And as well, here, the 75 degree rating plus the derating factor of table 5C for current carrying conductors in contact. So now what I've done is I've said that these conductors are in an ambient zone of 40 degrees. These ones are going to be in a 43 degree C ambient, and these ones are in 45 degrees. So now we have to look at this rule that I've added. So not only are we going to use 4.004.1c, but we have to go look at subrule 7 and drill down into subrule 7bi and apply the ambient temperature derating factor here as well. We're going to use 7bi here for that ambient temperature and 7bi here for this ambient temperature. So let's go to the rule and take a peek at it. So now, in first year, you should be required to use tables 1, tables 2, tables 2 and 5C, as well as the derating factors of table 5A. So let's take a look here. It says here in subrule 7, 4.004, subrule 7, the correction factors specified in this rule shall not apply to conductors installed in auxiliary gutters containing 30 conductors or less, and B, shall apply only to power and lighting conductors as follows. I. So we're at 7bi. The ambient capacity correction factors of table 5A, where conductors are installed in an ambient temperature exceeding or anticipated to exceed 30 degrees C. All right, so the tables are based on 30 degrees. So you're going to get questions where they throw the ambient temperature derating factor in. Now, we'll go to the table, so table 5A. Get your code books open, table 5A. And then once again here, you'll see the insulation temperature rating, C, and this little note here. So we are using 90 degree conductors here, 90 degree conductors there, and 90 degree conductors here. The termination temperature rule limited us to the 75 degree ampacity here, here, as well as here. And we apply the derating factor of table 5C here for more than 3 conductors in a conduit. This is the next derating factor we have. Now, when we look here, the corresponding temperature ratings in the top of the table here, 60 degrees here, 75 degrees, 90, etc., they apply to the conductors that you use. So in this case, we're using 90-degree conductors. Now, let's go to the bottom of the table and look what the note says. So the note says here, these ampacities are applicable only under special circumstances where the use of insulated conductors having this temperature rating acceptable. So that note is talking to these ampacities of conductors in these 105 degrees and higher temperature ratings. The standard conductors we use in inside wiring are really in the 60, 75, and 90 degree columns, with 90 being the most prevalent. So when we come down here now and we look here where it says insulation temperature rating C, and then it has the little dagger here, when we come down here, this is fundamental that you understand this part. The insulation temperature rating is the temperature rating marked on conductor. So what they're trying to get across to you is, when you're applying the rating factor of tables 5A, it is based on the conductor that you use. So the insulation that we're using is 90 degrees. Even though we are limited to the 75 degree ampacities in tables 2, when it comes to derating the conductor for ambient zone, it's based on the insulation that surrounds the conductor. This is a fundamental mistake that some students make. They think that you should use the 75 degree column when you derate the conductor. In reality, we are running this conductor at 75 degrees, and it has an insulation rating of 90 degrees. So when it's in this ambient zone, it's only really running as a 75 degree conductor. We're restricted to the 75 degree column because of the termination temperature. We want to keep that termination cool. So here, we really have a 15 degrees factor built into this conductor here. So when we derate it, when we go to table 5A, you go to the 90 degree column. All right? So let's take a look. When you see here, it says ambient temperature, so 35, 40, 45, etc. So when I look in this column here, my ambient temperature is 45. I come here and I come across to the 90 degree column, and my derating factor is 87%. I can only load that conductor to 85% because of that ambient temperature there. And if I look down here, now 43, if you look here, well, what do? So there is no 43. You're in between 40 and 45. Let's see if the note at the bottom of the table says anything. Notes 1 and 2. The correction factors apply to tables 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 60. The correction factors in column 2 also apply to table 57. So there's nothing there when we're in between. Let's see what note 2 says. The ampacity of a given conductor type at a higher ambient is obtained by multiplying the appropriate value from tables 1, 2, 3, or 4 by the correction factor for that higher temperature. So if you think on it, we have to round up. So here, we're in a 43 degree ambient. I wouldn't go down to 40 degrees and derate it based on 40 degrees. I'd round up to the 45 to err on the side of caution. So there is no 43. I go to 45. I come across. It's 90 degrees. And now I can only load that to 87% of 100 amps. Here, well, look, how restricted it gets. This is a fundamental thing here is when you see how you're using this, the code buck. We started with 150 amps, 115 amps at 90 degrees. Then, because of 6 current carrying conductors, we're limited to 80%. Now we've got this ambient temperature of 40 degrees Celsius. We go to table 5A, and now we are in 91%. We can only load it. So now, calculator out. And now we've applied that ambient zone here. 145, we're down to 87% of that, 126 amps. 87% there, we're at 87 amps there, and here we're down to 72.8. This will save the insulation from overheating it. So these are fundamental things that years 1, 2, 3, and 4, you must understand them to get out there and be a qualified individual. All right? That's it.